Alright guys, it's time I showed you the 4 monument Sphinx raw build order. And guide, I guess you could call it. So this is currently the single most oppressive strategy that is terrorizing the ladder from the lowest elo all the way to the highest elo at any range. You can use this into any god and at any elo if you manage to replicate this and work on it on your own. So let's dive right into it. So at the start, we'll spawn with a pharaoh and 3 villagers. The 2 of the villagers and the pharaoh go straight on to the hunt or berries, doesn't matter. But here we're taking the hunt. One of the villagers will be building your very first monument, and your priest will be empowering it. So the first 3 villagers coming out of your town center needs to go on to food. So in total, you'll be having 5 on food, and the monument builder will then, once he finishes the monument, he will go on to wood. Right, so 5 on to food in total, and then monument, wood. With me? Right, so after that, after the priest finishes empowering the monument, you're gonna send him off and start scouting, and you want to put down obelisks everywhere. With this strategy, you really should have obelisks everywhere, ideally. Right, so once we have the 5 on food, you want to put the next 4 onto gold. The reason for this is we need to get the monuments up ASAP, and 4 on gold is what I found to be the most optimal. And right around halfway mark of finishing this mining camp, you can now transfer your pharaoh from the granary onto the monument so that it empowers everything around here. Which is why you should always place it in the middle, so that it can even catch the chickens once you decide to go there, which you will need to, by the way. So something you have to keep in mind for this build is that this hunt pack will more than likely not be enough for you to advance with. So it's important for you to split the vills after you've finished sending 4 to gold. But before that, you're going to send 1 designated house builder, house/monument builder after the 4 on gold. And this one will come here, throw down a house, and while I'm here, I should quickly note, you need to build your base super defensively with this strategy, or build order rather, since you're going to be aging up very late, around 5:30. The key here is to build defensively. That is your way of surviving the early in case there are any rushes, because once the Sphinx come out, they will help you defend without a problem. Okay? So here you'll see me line the houses up nicely and defensively, just to protect myself from any types of rushes or harassment that I may be receiving. But better to be safe than sorry, right? Alright, so after the designated house builder, we are going to send vills onto... Okay, yeah, I was a bit late, but after that house, we should have been building the monument, second monument. And after that, we're going to now send 5 more villagers onto food, to the second hunt pack, or berries, chickens, whatever else you have. And you can see here, I'm now placing my houses defensively. While you're doing this, make sure you are building your obelisks everywhere you can. They're very, very important. So much vision. You're basically having map hacks with raw, pretty much. Alright, so 5 more onto food, and in total we'll have 10 on food. And then after that, we're going to be sending 3 villagers onto gold. Of course, after the second monument, we should have enough for the third monument, so you want to drop that down ASAP, as soon as possible. And once you have this monument finished, you should have enough for your temple. You should. Also, keep in mind that sometimes this build can be rather tight on the food, so you may need to force drop. Just keep yourself above 50 food at all times so that you don't have any idle time on your town center. This is very important. In this particular clip, I did have some idle time, but that was mainly because I was yapping the way I am yapping now. Unfortunately, I lost the recording, but here we are going through it again, and this just allows me to explain stuff better. Right, so third monument up, and then immediately get the temple up. By the time this temple is finished, you should have enough to age up if you've done this properly. You'll be looking at a 530 age up. You'll be clicking advanced at 430. You want to go through Bost, of course, because that's the Sphinx. And yeah, so after the 10 on food in total, we'll be sending villagers to gold until we have 7. So it's going to be 10, 1, 7. 10 on food, 1 on wood, and 7 on gold. And after 7 on gold, we're going to go with 2 more villagers onto wood before we advance. So here you can see I have enough to advance, but I'm still going to squeeze out that one last villager. Why? Because we're going to need the wood for the Sphinx upgrades and potentially husbandry. Husbandry helps because this build is going to consume a lot of food, and as raw, you generally don't really need to leave your base. You have your berries, you have your chickens, you have your goats, and the more goats you have, the better, of course. But right, so after the first temple finishes, you want to throw down a second temple. Crazy, huh? How will you ever use 2 temples? Trust me, with this, you should be able to have 2 temples constantly producing. After the second temple, we can now throw down the 4th monument. This monument, it's very important for this monument to be right next to the first monument. Why? Because we are going to switch the pharaoh empowerment from this one to this one when it's finished. The reason for that is because this monument actually gathers favor slightly faster. So empowering it will give us a little bit of extra favor, which is always nice. And it's still going to keep everything else in radius. As long as everything else is in the monument radius, you're going to be fine, okay? Right, so we're advancing. At this point, you can take a villager from gold and start finishing these houses. You can even do that earlier if you're against an aggressive civ such as Poseidon or Kronos. So keep in mind, you can be rather versatile with your builds. You don't have to. It's not there's room for error in this build order, right? But ideally, if you're against, let's say, someone like Kronos or Poseidon, like I said, you need to get these up ASAP because they can start harassing you very early as 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, here we're just cruising by. We are waiting to age up, and as the second we age up, what needs to happen next is this. You're going to immediately queue up Sphinx, immediately produce some Sphinx, and get yourself Sacred Cats. You can pre-queue the Sacred Cats, because you'll eventually reach 10 favor again, and you'll be able to get it then. But for now, Sphinx, and as soon as this is researched, you want to get the Hierarcha Sphinx upgrade. And while this is happening, you also want to throw down the armory and the market. So from this point on, you have to ask yourself, do I want to stay in classic and do some classical fighting with axemen and sphinx and maybe some slingers? But usually you don't need it. You only need axemen to take care of heroes. Or do I want to go to heroic and do a Migdol type of play? Or you can even go as far as grabbing a second town center if the other god is so defensive that you won't be able to get too much damage done. In this case, I chose to go for a fast heroic, which is always good because this synergizes, a fast heroic synergizes extremely well with Bast because of Sobek. So Bast plus Sobek gives you Eclipse and Locust, which I'll be telling you about in a bit. But for now, as soon as your Sphinx upgrade comes through, you want to pre-queue it. I also should mention, 2 of the wood villagers, after you research the Hierarcha Sphinx, they can move on to another resource. You don't necessarily need them there anymore. Because as you can see here, we're about to hit 200 wood and 10 favor, which is what you need for the Hierka Sphinx upgrade. So keep that in mind. But you can always just leave them there to stockpile wood, to get yourself shaft mine once you hit heroic, get yourself irrigation, to get yourself all types of upgrades, copper shield, anything really. So it's fine if you move them, it's fine if you leave them, but if you really want to maximize the potential of what you're doing, it is better to move them to another resource. So how is our village distribution going to look going forward? Since I am going for a fast heroic here, I'm going to keep around 10 on gold and the rest on food. The 10 on gold will give me enough to age up as I produce Sphinx continuously. So keep that in mind. If you're going for a classical fighting, then you may need maybe like 2 less on gold. You have to eyeball it, you know? You can be versatile with this build, as I said. It is very, very forgiving. So right, as soon as your Sphinx are out, this upgrades come through, it's time to raid. So you have another option here. You want to split them, if you can handle it, splitting them into 2 groups can give so much value if you can control it. But if you have a trouble with controlling 2 control groups, you can always just use one, all 4, and just go get some harassment done. You don't necessarily need to do any damage, but just keeping them on their toes, getting some idle time, anything helps really, just to keep pressure off of yourself. But yeah, I should soon be able to go up to heroic, and from there on, like, it's your playground with this build basically. You can do whatever you want. Key is to scout, look at what your opponent is doing, and then react. That's the most important thing. You want to build the counter units to whatever here. If they're Norse, axemen are great. If they're Atlantean, you know, you could go into camels and deal with their Cantarius heroes or Arcus heroes, or you can go axemen for Catapulta heroes, Murmillos, Hersers, you know. Priests, you can go camels, doesn't really matter. Anything works. You just have to scout, and the key is to actually counter their hero units, because the backbone of this is the Sphinx, and as you age up, they will get stronger. So keep that in mind. Each age up will give you stronger myth units. Another thing I do want to mention: once you hit heroic, there's a crazy combo you can do with Locust and Eclipse. So let's say you're about to take a fight on his second gold mine, which is usually when this build shows its best power. On a second gold mine, when their main gold mine is depleted and they're moving on to the second one with their army, that's when you want to strike and hit them hard. You'll be able to Locust, Eclipse. You ideally want to Eclipse first and then place the Locust in a way where it hits their army and their villagers. What you want to prioritize here is, it depends. If they have a ton of villagers going out, then go for the villagers. But if they have a ton of units and you're kind of afraid of their units, throw it on the units. Because either way, you'll be able to kill one or the other with this. So keep that in mind, and yeah, just play around with this. You'll find that this works. This is very versatile and you can do anything you want with it. But yeah, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. Let me know if you have any questions. How about some good old raw? There was some requests to do a 4 monument type of build. So maybe we can squeeze that in here. Against Loki. We can give it a shot. So you want to start off with one building, the monument. Empower the TC for the extra rate of fire. And then we'll go 5 onto wood. This one finishes the monument, goes to wood. Priest scouts afterwards. So we'll do the 5 onto food. 1 builds the monument and then goes to wood. And then we'll go 4 onto gold next. Keep scouting with the priest. Can also soon transition the pharaoh to the monument. We want to get 3 of the monuments out as soon as possible, and the 4th one as we are advancing. Okay, now we can go ahead and empower the monument. We can also get ourselves pickaxe right about now. And then we'll go with 1 more on gold, and then we'll have a designated house and monument builder. While we're doing this, we also go ahead and keep luring animals. So 5, 1, 4, and then 4 more to food. Actually, my bad. Next one is the house. But we can also build monuments in the meantime. Build your houses nice and defensively. Deposit your gold. Build 1 house and the 2nd monument. Villager bugged out. That's unfortunate. So we have to force drop there. Now, this. We have to force shop a little bit here and there, but it's fine. So, we still want to get 150 gold for the 3rd monument and 150 food. So after 4 more onto, or 3 more onto food, just go to a 2nd food source, because you'll need to. This one will eventually run out, and as long as it's in monument range, you'll be fine. This 3rd monument can come up now. Just make sure you're always producing villagers and not having idle time. It's okay to slightly delay your monument. Make sure you don't have any idle time at all. So 10 on food, and then the rest goes on to gold. Around here is when you can also build your temple. Make sure it's in the range of the town center. Of the monument, sorry. So this is gonna run out very soon. And we're gonna have enough to advance just as it runs out, which is now. We have to do that. Go. And then we'll put around 6 on food, or 7 in this case. It can vary, you don't have to be very perfect with it. You can just usually get away with whatever. You want to build a 2nd temple. This is against Loki, so it's not as good. You also want to take and put 2 from gold onto the wood for the Sphinx upgrades. You can also start. You can go here as well. Now, the goal after this temple is the 4th monument. We want to place it. We can place it right there. And then we can go back to building our houses. Place them nice and defensively. Get the Sphinx upgrade immediately. Start scouting a map a little bit. And we can start spamming the Sphinxes. Should have enough for the 2nd Sphinx upgrade soon, by the time this one is done. So we'll get the 2nd one pre-queued. right here. 10 more wood. And now we can just go ahead and keep making Sphinx. We are going to... Sometimes you also want to get sacred cats, by the way. Okay, so it's trying to be a bit aggressive, but that's fine. Once we upgrade, they can't really do much. Build a priest to heal up. Keep placing monuments. Can heal that up. And then now we can just spam this. And also go ahead and get husbandry upgrade. Pre-queue it. And now it's pretty much free flow from here. I am personally this game going to go for heroic. You can also just do stay in classic and classical fight him. But we do need a market and okay. Doing a bit of scouting. The pathing. Okay. So we're gonna scout here. Oh, we can always go and get his raiding cavalry. Oh, the pathing. That is unfortunate. You can always heal them up, so it's okay to take damage. Not the end of the world. So here we can go for Locust, or Solvik rather. Now we'll go back and heal up. Okay, there we go. I will be running camels and axemen this game. So let's get these healed up. Get a few more of these. Think about where you want to place your second Migdol. I'll probably go for here. Get your axeman upgrade, get a couple of axemen. Now we can start heading out slowly. Go. He should be running out of gold soon. So we can use the rock to scout. Go for another barracks. Priest and power. Go ahead and get the Migdol out. He does not have enough units to deal with this. What I'm going to do is send 2 into his base. Or at least flank him. Just micro them back and forth. And you'll be fine. Okay, so here we can actually just do this. And they will die. He's going to lose all his units. I may lose a couple. But I'll be fine. I can send the Sphinx into his base. Just keep making the Axemen. This trade is always going to be worth it for me. Okay, nice. We didn't lose much. And now we still have 30 seconds of tempo with Eclipse, so we'll find something to hit, find this wood line, anything. Make it hard for him. We know where his gold mine is, so we can go there as well. We do have way more favor than we actually ever need. So we can keep making units and... He's gonna pickle here. He has this walled off, so what we'll do is we'll start attacking here. We can buy some food. We'll keep getting gold. That's fine. You don't have to play perfect. This is that OP. So we can do this. I don't want to fight quite yet. I want to wait for my Locust. But if he's gonna stay out here, I should go. This could be brutal for him. He did convert them. He's simply chasing me around. And then we can do another Locust there onto those wells. And he lost all his wells. Gee. I could have made way more Sphinx, but I didn't really feel like I needed to because he kept making Herser, so I'd just rather use a second Locust onto his exposed wells. But yeah, that is it for the 4 Monument Sphinx abuse. Currently the strongest strategy in the game. Very telegraphed, but extremely strong and still very hard to beat. As you can see, you can make...
Like, this is some noob ass build order, man. Like, I'm getting Vaults of Erebus super early. Like, my Hades is stronger. I know Hades inside and out. Hades is my...
Yep. So this strategy is just too oppressive currently, the game, and it's free elo. You see, you can make several mistakes. I did not play this game perfectly. I didn't necessarily need to. The strategy carries, and Raw in general right now is just too overtuned. But as you can see, several mistakes made, but still able to close out a win with a very telegraphed strategy. Guys,
Whatever, man. I'm
enjoyed.
taking that as a dub. That's such a lame way to win. I hate when players do that. That shit's so fucking cringe.
Yep. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching.